What's up, everybody? This is Gaming God, and I'm reacting to the ARMS North American August 2020 Open, and this is part 2 of the tournament, so I'm really excited. Let's see how this match goes, and let's get to it.
Welcome back to the ARMS North American Open August 2020. I'm Jordan Kent alongside Coney and EE. We've seen some terrific action as Astro Ninja punched their ticket to the grand finals. Now we have to figure out who's going to fill in that other spot. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket and show you the traffic we have to navigate as we get set for the rest of this tournament. Top 4 fighters out of nearly 800 participants. It'll be Askew taking on Slosher Whalelord to find out who will fight off against Para for the option and opportunity to go to grand finals. So let's start back with Askew here once again, Coney. And we saw Askew and Astro Ninja. Askew taking that very first game from Astro Ninja, so you can't really sleep on Askew.
Yeah, I felt like Askew had an early lead, but Astro Ninja, again, I think the story is about sort of like outpacing him over time. Astro Ninja just seems to have a different gear than his opponents, and I think a lot of that does have to do with Dr. Coyle because she is so versatile. She can play in so many different ways, but Astro Ninja just definitely a phenomenal player. No doubts about that. We'll see how Askew does here in the losers bracket. He is probably the best Min-Min that we know about. He's going to be fighting Slosher Whalelord on either the Lollipop or the Master Mummy. I'm going to go ahead and assume Lollipop on this one because Mummy and Min-Min is not great.
Yeah, not a great matchup, and we talked about that there, EE, as far as just the difference in capability to switch characters, but oftentimes you have to stick to matchups. As much as you might have an emotional connection to somebody, you have to look at who you're going against.
Yeah, and that can be like that can be the downfall, right? And that can be the difference between ninth and, third or first, something like that. Like, that's something like, if, anybody knows anything about Smash, Ganondorf mains have yet to figure that out, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta separate that attachment to the results you want, you know what I mean? That's kind of how it goes.
As we get set for this next match here between Askew and Slosher Whalelord, when you look at what is at stake right now, our winner will go ahead and get a digital download code for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, as well as the Fighters Pass Volume 2, digital download code for Splatoon 2. But don't worry, our runner-ups won't go home empty-gloved, as we like to say. 2,500 My Nintendo Gold points will go out to them as well. So a chance for everybody to partake in the fun here, but only one can have the bragging rights. And so far, Coney, it seems like we're really finding this balance between offense, defense, and when players and when fighters are choosing to sort of go in and apply that pressure and do it, they have to be somewhat judicious about it.
Yeah, it's a gamble, just like anything else in these kind of games. And ARMS is so simple at first glance, right? These guys are just dancing around trying to throw these punches at each other, but when you really get into sort of what's happening here, the decisions being made and what you're doing around the clock, around your opponent's health, around your rush meter. There are so many sort of micro decisions happening at any given time. They can win or lose you the game. Something that happened 45 seconds ago when you decided to pop a rush when it wasn't safe could lose you the game, and then that could lose you the set, could lose you everything. So it's very interesting to see the opening choices that these guys are making and how that translates into games. I think that's actually why there in that last match, Para was doing so well against Astro Ninja. He made all the right decisions early. Unfortunately, there at the end, Astro Ninja just came out ahead.
In EE, one thing we've seen already is how the stage can really just impact everything you're trying to do. We saw that, lack of a scrap in Scrapyard going on where really both fighters just kept their distance, and it was Astro Ninja just outpacing Para. And so it really seems like utilizing the mechanics of the particular stage will really be huge for who's going to move forward.
Absolutely. I mean, especially like you get those stages, like DNA Lab or Scrapyard that have those pillars. Those can really kind of dictate how the gameplay is going to start off, at least for those first couple of rounds. And it can be a little frustrating too, but it just really depends. Like if you're more of a defensive player or you're more of an offensive player, right? You kind of get a stage that kind of caters to your needs and take advantage from there. I think in a lot of these aspects, we're seeing that kind of patient defensive play can be very successful.
We're waiting for our first match in this losers final as we get set for Slosher Whalelord and getting ready to take on Askew. And, one thing that really stood out about Askew and Min-Min, the only person here, Coney, to take a game off of Astro Ninja, who sort of just bulldozed their way to grand finals, is with Min-Min, you've got that dragon arm mechanic. And just break that down for us a little bit further and why people love that aspect about Min-Min.
Sure. So essentially, when Min Min gets charged up, she keeps a perma-charge on her left arm, which is her dragon arm. It doesn't have to be the dragon arm. A lot of people are wondering about that because in Smash Brothers, she does have only the dragon arm as her left arm. But it basically stays charged up until she gets knocked down, which means a hard knockdown off a firearm, a grab, anything like that, or maybe a stun off an electric arm. And because of that, she's able to keep that perma-charge at all times without really any other trade-off. Meanwhile, Springman only gets perma-charge when he's under 25% health, I think, or 30% health, something like that. Max Brass is the same way. As long as
match
Min
time.
can stay in the lead, as long as she can stay ahead, she can use that perma-charge left arm to great effectiveness, just keeping that pressure up.
Let's stroll the streets of Via Dolce as Slosher going with Lollipop and Askew. No surprises here, going with Min Min, connecting with the throw early on, and we talked
Askew
about
is
station
fighting really
sort of
hard.
an S shape to Via Dolce, and that creates some really tight corners.
Yeah, and you know what? Because of that, you're going to see a lot. This is just going to be a close quarters type battle. And, obviously we know this is Lollipop's stage, but she doesn't seem to have any kind of investment.
Wow, what a quick
that
match.
Is going to be all Min Min, just absolutely devastating performance from Askew.
I mean,
things up.
what a quick
Askew
round.
just punishing Lollipop, and Slosher had no answers that particular game, so we'll see
That
if the
round was
adjustment comes
quick.
out here. Coney has already
Let's see if this round would end well.
And then both rush attacks come out, and it'll be Slosher that's on the advantageous side of that.
Yeah, not too many hits coming out. You got the hard knockdown, so nothing really happening, but you can see Askew just putting out so much pressure. Slosher gonna inflate up, try to defend as much as he can, but you can see that light little dink into the grab, just so much damage, and Askew is just... He's like a hunting dog, man. Look at this. He's all over Slosher. He can't find any corner.
Askew applying all sorts of pressure. Slosher just trying to get out of the corner and find some breathing room. And we see Slosher with a little bit more success here, EE, but it's just the 1-2 punches leading into these throw combos that Askew has used to build this advantage.
I absolutely agree, and I think it's the consistency that's really going to serve him well here. You see that rush being completely negated, just getting no kind of benefit off of that. Only a sliver, just to be left.
And Askew wins again.
A very well-timed grab. What a way to show off your dominance from Askew.
So Askew just taking
Askew
care of
is a quick fighter.
Dolce, and that's it to claim the first game over Slosher Whaler. So Askew making quick work, and you're seeing why Askew, even though they dropped the very first match against Astro Ninja, very, very talented player there, Coney.
Yeah, I'm thinking about those arms, man. I am, because he had the left dragon arm as the chakra. So that's a big chakram, which is sort of a weird
All right, round 2.
loadout to go with there, but I think he's trying to catch dodges from Slosher,
second half.
and it really covered any sort of escape through that narrow passageway, the alleyway of Via Dolce. We'll see how it does here for him on this stage instead, Sky Arena. Taking that jump into the stadium can be sort of intimidating, but Askew just, oh my goodness, he's putting on so much pressure.
Askew with that chakram and Roaster. Slosher with the Biffler and Dragon. Sky Arena, not a whole lot of fanfare to this stage, just the elevated square in the middle, and so EE a stage with a little bit more room that gives Slosher a chance to move around, but no issues for Askew as Askew just keeps the pressure coming. Rush meter ready to go for both of them.
Absolutely. Notice where he elects to go every single time, right? He makes sure he stays, like, there's just obviously like that little bit of a dip, but he makes sure he wants to keep the high ground even for just those little bits.
All right.
And Askew able to take that commandingly, still with Rush coming into this next round. So we could be seeing another 2-0 kind of statement developing.
Askew, no issues whatsoever. Both fighters have their rush meter ready and fully built up.
Oh
Here
my
comes the
God.
rush attack for both of them. It's going to be Askew
The rush meters
landing
are
that
always
one for
ready.
285, and Coney, Askew once again having all the answers.
Yeah, this is just the Askew show. He's just all over Slosher, who has just not found his footing at any time in this set, unfortunately. Askew just in his face, constantly making the right decisions, getting the right reactions, and just mopping him up in that one. These matches are
finish this
sub
match
30
in like
seconds. Like, these are so fast.
50 seconds.
Yeah, got it off before the NBA shot clock in that one. Just 24
Yeah.
seconds to finish things up. So Askew taking two very quick games as we get set for the third game here. Askew looking for a clean sweep, and EE, at this point, if you're Slosher, you have to think about some major adjustments because you haven't even been close in one of these games.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like you can't, like it's like kind of like where do you go here with Lola? Like both rounds you've seen just kind of get obliterated no matter the stage. So now your back's against the wall. It's like, do you try something else? Do you have a different loadout to kind of bring to the table? Anything that maybe can just put a little bit of space, a little bit of breathing room is probably what you're going to want to fall back on right now because it has been an overwhelming effort from Askew.
And Coney, we've seen it, the Chakram just catching so many things on the left and right and able to cover up so many options for mobility.
Master Mummy.
All right, here comes the Master Mummy, though, out of Slosher. We saw this last time when Slosher's back was up against the wall. They opened up the tomb and brought out Master Mummy. Let's see if it works here in Ribbon Ring. But you figure Askew doesn't have to change anything that's been working well for them, Coney.
No, not at all. I feel like whereas in the other set, I do think Master Mummy might have been the right decision because I think that it was particularly good against Para. I think here it's not going to work as well because Askew isn't sitting back. He's not playing defensively. He's not even playing in such a way that you can get any kind of heals off. Instead, he's constantly in your face and constantly throwing punches. Now, maybe his strategy is just to tank some of them, as you can see right here. Tanking that straight arm again and again. But that chakram is huge, and it just keeps knocking him over and over.
As well as the knockdown coming from the roaster that's serving Askew
even
very
with Master
well.
Mummy, Slosher Wailord can't win.
Melting Slosher Wailord in the corner, so Askew is just one round away from moving on to Loser's Final. Just a dominating performance we've seen here so far, EE.
Yeah, I didn't know Arms had any speedrunners, but I'm just kind of getting accustomed to it right now because Askew is certainly doing his best impression, and that's no slight against Slosher. He just has not had the answers. It has just been pressure situations that have just been benefiting Askew so much. He has no intention, obviously, of slowing down. What a grab. He's catching him midair and just continuing this domination.
Askew launching Master Mummy. It's all Askew at this point. Slosher and Master Mummy may need to go to sleep for a few thousand more years to figure things out at this point as Askew unleashes the rush attack. Trying to finish this one so quickly. Askew, and that'll do it. The Ramen Bomber.
All right.
Mowing down Slosher Wailord on the way to their losers.
Man, that was so sick.
Just totally unraveling that Mummy. That was tough. Askew running all over Slosher Wailord. Just looking sort of outmatched there, if I'm being honest.
That was a sick
it really
match.
Comes down to these four have beaten so many people to get here. I believe you said over 800 players. So no slight against Slosher Wailord at all. Put up a great fight throughout the whole day, but Askew definitely showing that he deserves to make his place in that Losers Final.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket here as we get set for our Losers Final. So Askew making quick work of Slosher Wailord. Slosher Wailord will go home with 2,500 My Nintendo Gold points. But now we have Para versus Askew.
Para versus
so the
Askew.
two opponents that Astro Ninja dispatched will get a chance to face off against each other for the rights at a rematch against Astro Ninja. And if I'm Para and I'm watching that, by any chance, EE, you figure I'm in for a big-time matchup because Askew just looks so impressive that final match.
I'm already thinking, like, okay, I know that he's coming in with a ton of momentum, especially with a 3-0 victory like that. I just lost my winners finals 3-0. So, for me, it's not necessarily the same gauge as far as confidence goes, but I have the advantage of seeing exactly how he plays, right? You see that he is somebody who's just going to try and rush you down back into those corners. So that's something that he can kind of at least game plan for with the right arms that he wants to go ahead and elect to bring out.
And Para, you imagine here, Coney, might go with a player with a little bit more mobility. We saw Master Mummy. Listen, they're not winning any 100-meter dashes anytime soon. So you want somebody that might be a little bit more agile because you have so much pressure coming out from Askew. Askew doesn't want to sit back and bide their time. They want to get right up into your face and make you have to deal with the onslaught of arms coming out. And to counter that, you figure you need some pretty good mobility.
Yeah, I don't think Ninjara is the choice here because I don't think the dodge mechanic is going to be very well suited to Askew's style of play, which is constantly being in his face. We have seen Para play both Kid Cobra and Springman, and actually I'm remembering back, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I commentated Para before at some old 2GG events, and he used Mechanica as well. Now, I don't know if we're going to be seeing her today, but I definitely think the King Cobra is the right choice for this one, and that's what he's going to be rocking. He's got the double Q. Are those the bubs, I think?
Those are the bubs, and there is a girth attribute to these different characters as well, too. And those just look monstrous, Coney. Am I seeing things at this point?
They are insane. They're bigger than King Cobra's head.
Oh my god.
Like, significant amount.
Para, though, seems to be the solution as they're finally able to get some damage on Askew, taking the early advantage. Rush attack ready to go here. Both fighters going to be patient for that. Here in Spring Stadium, it's going to be
Dang,
Askew
awesome.
330 off the spring and then tagging on another 20. So EE, great usage of the rush meter at that point.
Oh, for sure. You can kind of assume that both of these guys, once like any kind of little opening presents itself, they are going to take full advantage. And I think that's what we're seeing. Askew, though, not getting to be the dominator. That
Oh, so Min got knocked out.
Para making a terrific stand and opening up. I think the King Cobra right out the gate is definitely the answer that I was looking to see.
And Cody, it's blowing my mind. I'm looking at these bubs. It's like Para's throwing a mattress at him every single time with each punch. It's like you can't avoid it. They're so massive. And Para, that seemed to be the answer because you can just connect. You don't have to have that small, delicate hitbox necessarily.
It's like it's a 16-wheeler coming at you over and over and over. And this was honestly sort of what was in style a long time ago when the game first came out. You saw the double bubs kind of take the game by storm early on. They sort of fell out of favor as people learned to deal with them a little bit. I do believe they were nerfed as well. But Para bringing it back old school as he's just throwing these straight arms. I think Askew wasn't ready for this.
Another KO with a rush attack.
Handily.
Para just marches through and takes that first game, the double bub, as we mentioned before. So you figure we might see an adjustment.
Para's
from
taking the
Askew
first game.
Askew, who mowed their way into losers final, couldn't do a thing against those double bubs, EE.
Not at all. And this is the advantage of being able to game plan for your opponent, just sitting back, watching them dominate and just knowing, okay, I have a wide variety of character pool I can kind of dip into, and I'm going to match those arms further. I like this double bub situational approach that he's using. It's really not allowing Askew to just, impose his will like he's become accustomed to. No, he's kind of realizing I'm going to have to change it up too if I want to have any success and get myself into grand finals.
The second half.
Going to stick with the same old tried and true that worked last round, the double bubs. Askew, interestingly enough, makes a switch here to the Slap-A-Mander on the side, Coney.
Yeah, I think he's going with that to get a little bit sort of maneuverability, sort of curving it around the bub. You can see him trying to clap him in the head. Switching off the chakram, I do believe that is... He's doing that because the chakram wasn't really doing much in terms of clashing with the bub. This one, he can actually just sort of connect with the hit. They both cancel each other out. I think that's what he's going for here. But Askew, even still, hasn't quite found the answer. He's slightly ahead, and he does have the rush, but Para holding his own.
Slap-A-Mander and Toaster all lined up for Askew. Both fighters, we have a close game here. Para versus Askew in this first round. Askew trying to claim a game here to make it 1-1 potentially. But it's Para right now trying to get Askew back to the corner.
Oh my god, now Min is going to win.
Para against the wall. And EE, this is where Askew, you figure one of these fighters has to use this rush meter soon.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, at this point, just pull the trigger. And you see just the high aerial approach trying to get in there. No, nobody going to get any kind of benefit. So now we're just going to have to see a neutral battle to have the decider of this first game, or the second game, excuse me. And that arm being disabled, oh my, he didn't go down from that?
Askew
on both sides?
What?
Askew doing it with one arm to close things out. Para just a butterfly kiss away from being KO'd.
Oh!
Unable
Dang, Para was so close to losing.
Para hanging on and able to connect with the bub to take the first
Para
round.
is such a good
Right
player.
on the button, man. I mean, at
That
the end
is
of
crazy.
these matches, it almost becomes like pilots dog fighting. You're just throwing these missiles over and over, and can you land that final hit on your target? Para, but the target locked there at the very end, right on the chin. Askew gonna lose that game, but he's coming out firing in the second one as Para takes stage control.
Para looking to really take control of this losers final. A win here would give them a 2-0 advantage, best out of 5. Askew, though, with both those fire element arms and the Slap-A-Mander and Toaster, both rush attacks come out. That's going to be negated by Para. Para will have a little bit of time left, so both rush attacks neutralize each other. EE, we see Para try to manipulate and use some of those blocks to their advantage now at this point.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, obviously your arms are going to fly right through there. You can obviously get on top if you're in a situation where it's going to elevate you, but it doesn't seem like that really is the case right now. Just kind of playing around. Actually using, at one point, it seemed like he was using them as blinders when those arms are just sailing through. So just seeing this game be very even because they seem like both be applying like the same strategy, like just in-your-face action. And you see Para, though, he does have to rush, which really at this point I feel like they've just been using rush counters. They've just been flinging them anytime somebody activates.
As you said, both characters, rush meter full and ready to go. We're down to 26 seconds, so still plenty of time. You can't really hide at this point here, Coney. It's going to be the aggressor that wants to close this one out.
You can see Askew. I think it comes down to the rush, man. You can see Askew for the moment, just for a second, was trying to be the aggressor.
Oh my god, Para's gonna lose. Para is gonna lose.
Now both rushes are on deck, and you can see that Para was in a weird spot because he didn't want to let the rush go in case he just got clapped out of it and loses it for what could be the final match. But he also wanted to make sure that Askew wasn't going to use his. So both of them holding on to it. We've got two rushes.
Let's see if Para can
Whoever
win
uses
this again.
First, and whoever hits it, I think is going to be in a great spot here.
Para making the switch to the clapback and the popper. We saw that early during their first match. Para trying to get in close. Here comes the rush meter, though, and it cancels out of the throw. That's going to put a warning sign on both arms. But Askew gets right back up. So, as you said, these rushes are really just being used to cancel each other.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's interesting to just see more of a defensive option than like just the offensive decider between the two. But hey, I mean, they've all been applying some really good neutral pressure as well. And I love the classic loadout that I really enjoy coming in from Para. And I think that might just be the difference. He's got a pretty solid lead here, and he could be looking to advance 2-0 would be a nice way to set the tone trying to head in the grand final.
You said a huge round here. If Askew can get it, they tie things up. If not, Para takes a commanding 2-0 lead. Para doing a fine job of just being very patient behind that clapback, using it as some protection here. Both fighters, once again, a rush attack. But Coney, it seems like you're going to have to try and hit confirm into one at this point.
Yeah, I think both of these guys are showing that the raw rush isn't going to work out. As you saw right there, Askew not letting one go. He has one of his own, but he's got to use it sooner rather than later because Para is putting on the pressure. He's able to get that slap banner all the way around. We've got an even game.
It is dead even at this point. 10 seconds left. Askew gets a critical connection, though. Might be able to close this one out.
Oh, again.
Askew gets the KO, and we're now notched even at one game apiece in losers final. So EE, it finally took somebody connecting with their rush attack.
Yep.
We're on a tied game.
It was just ever so slightly, but it was at the perfect moment, and then you just see the finishing blow. I think that Mander, I like that attachment actually, like the way it just kind of comes and attacks you on the side. We saw that be pretty critical in getting damage and obviously in putting that round away.
So very impressive right there. The interesting switch as well too, Coney, to the clapback and the popper that we saw, as opposed to going with the double bubs, which was bringing a lot of success earlier on.
Yeah, I think that's a function of the stage because the double bubs kind of force the issue depending on where you are. So if I'm not mistaken, they were on Spring Stadium in the first game, and he's just able to sort of throw these big arms at him. And it looks like he's actually switching to that one. I think the popper and the clapback is more of a specialist loadout. And it looks like we're going right back to the bubs. I'm kind of interested, since this is a much bigger stage, interested to see how he does here with these two straight arms, because he's not going to be able to curve them around the pillars. He's just going to have to get rid of them directly.
As you mentioned, Para just trying to get rid of these pillars here to clear out some real estate, clear out some trees, so you got a clean field to play with here. Askew has had a lot of success as well too, EE, switching to that toaster and slap-o-mander. The opportunity to knock down Para and get a chance to read their recovery has really been the difference.
Absolutely. I think we're kind of seeing that already from the jump, slight advantage, and just trying to push the issue. This is what we've kind of become accustomed to seeing from Askew. He loves to get in those situations where he can push his advantage, and now with both of them having rush, maybe it could be like another defensive kind of stand between them both, but I'd love to see some damage be accumulated from that if we see another pillar going down at DNA Lab.
Askew has the advantage here about halfway through this particular round at this point. Para and Askew both with rush meters fully charged and ready to go. Askew looking for an opening, gets bopped by that. Bub. Those bubs have been so critical, Coney, as we mentioned before for Para. They've done such a fine job of just applying pressure. No more pillars to get in the way. Para coming back and taking control of this one.
Oh, that fist was so good, breaking the grab. Askew realizing he can't get much out of the rush, gets that final 80 damage, but here, okay, if you're Para, what do, man? You have the rush. Are you going to let it go, or are you going to wait till the next round? You have 8 seconds. He's finally going to okay, I'm taking this round.
And Para
I'm
wins.
not going to give Askew any opportunity to build his next rush. Let me just let this go, take the round,
All
work on
right.
the next one. I like
Next
that decision.
part.
Yeah, me too, Coney, because no round is guaranteed. If you've got
Yes.
one sitting there right in front of you, you have to take it while you can. At this point in losers finals, where you each have taken one game, you got to put it all out on the line. So Para connecting here with the early throw and smashing a pillar, EE.
Yeah, this is definitely kind of the start I'm sure he was looking for. Obviously, like, no reason to switch off those arms. They've been serving him pretty well, and this is kind of where it's okay. Like, once the pillars go down, you don't mind having those straight arms because you know it's more of a, the curving ability is going to be less effective. Oh, I thought he narrowly avoided the
my
rush.
God.
Attack on about, 210 off of that. Parr standing back up and immediately going into his rush, just going to return the favor. Back and forth we go with Parr actually leading the charge right now.
Para, great job of getting that rush attack to connect. Both fighters finally having some success with that. But Askew gets the throw. At this point here, Coney, you figure Para needs to continue to keep up the
sick
aggression, and
finish.
they do. So Para
What a sick
answers
finish.
back with a 2-0 game, and now they lead 2-1.
Dang.
They're looking to punch their ticket to grand finals.
And I think that was just a great situation for them, taking out all the pillars, just being able to chase Askew down. Such a pretty fast game, too. I mean, Ribbon Ring lasted a pretty long time, but Para definitely changing things up. I like the double bub. Even on a stage like that, it seemed to be better suited for him. So I think the clapback and the popper, I think they're sort of going to be put out the pasture for the rest of the set. But you never know. He seems very adaptable, for sure.
And EE, you mentioned on a stage like that, yes, there are pillars, but you have to quickly get rid of them. And that's when we really saw that particular round turn for Para, because once you got rid of those, you had nothing but wide open space, and that's when those bubs became so effective.
And I think that's why I was so
All right.
confident in keeping with them, because I think it takes about 3 hits to knock them out. And so once you remove them from the equation, it just becomes a much easier situation. As we head to another stage with some pillars here in Scrapyard, which we've seen promote a little bit of defensive play. So it'll be interesting out the gate how these two elect to approach each other.
Well, they want to mix it up early on. They're not going to go to the outside corners or edges of this square. They're right in the middle, bopping back and forth.
Yeah.
And once again, you figure, Coney, you're going to clear out these pillars. If you're Para, if you're Askew, how do you try to use this stage to your advantage?
It's tough because it's sort of counter to what Askew has been doing for so many of his sets, right? He just sort of gets up in your opponent's face. I think this is his best bet, which is keeping Para against that wall. But even still, he actually knocked Para onto the high ground there as Para took that knockback. 2 rushes here. I think he's going to have to sort of try to corner Para when he can, maneuver around these pillars as he's doing right now. You can see the bubs are not very well equipped to get around that pillar. And there's the slap-o-mander coming all the way around to knock him out of that rush. And Askew might have all, but I think this round is a certainty just off that rush play. Very well done.
Oh,
Askew
so
wraps
Askew
this up with
wins.
the slap-o-mander. As you said, the key play was neutralizing the rush attack that Para was unleashing. So once again, back and forth, but here they come back from pasture here, Coney. We got the clap back and the popper. They're not ready to go to sleep yet.
All right, I guess not. We'll see how it goes here. I feel like that slap-o-mander is just going to not get hit by that clapback, but we'll see what Para has in store as Askew is going to land a full rush.
Askew, as you mentioned, landing that rush attack, and Para having to use the defensive capabilities of that clapback. But that slap-o-mander, EE, it's so good at just getting around that clapback and creating opportunities for Askew to move in.
No doubt about it. And I like obviously you're going to see it from the start too, because it plays around the fact that there were those pillars that were on the stage earlier as well. So you got to kind of keep that in mind, which I think was kind of the mindset, and obviously one that's working out pretty well. Still one pillar though sitting there as we see this clapback popper loadout starting to pay some dividends for Parr, who would love to be able to put this away. You don't want to go to a game 5 against somebody like Askew. He's just too aggressive for my liking. But with only a sliver of health left here, this is looking like it's all been done.
Oh, and Para wins.
So here we go.
So Para is
third
going
round
in the grand
our
finals
fourth game.
against
If Para
Afro Ninja.
can claim this
No, I
round,
mean
they'll move
Astro
on to
Ninja.
grand finals to take on Astro Ninja. If Askew can
Oh,
go ahead
not-
and steal
not yet.
this, we'll go to a 5th game in our losers final match. Para switching to the clapback, hoping it equals a comeback at this point. We've got full rush meter for both fighters. We've learned earlier between these two, whoever can utilize that rush may seem like common sense, but that has been the deciding factor. And Para already unleashing it here, Coney, with 305.
Yeah, like you said, using the rush, it feels like it's obvious, right? But against top-level players like this, these are the four of the best players in North America, it's a huge risk. As you can see right there, Para knocking his Askew right out of it, and maybe punching his ticket into Grand Finals. We'll have to see as Para is using that clapback to great effectiveness.
Askew whiffs on the rush attack. It's neutralized by Para. Now it's all about Para deciding whether or not to play a defensive or offensive game. A lot of time left. 53 seconds left. Para taking the high ground, but Askew starting to chip away here, EE.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to kind of mount this little bit of a comeback. I do like the fact that prior what he did at the start, just electing to use his rush, because he knew he was going to get another opportunity, though Askew obviously having one as well. So really that's going to be the difference maker. We saw at the beginning of it seemed like it was going to be a defensive fallback option for both, but now it seems like it's becoming that deciding factor that you expect as we see them both let it rip again.
Dang.
And this time, Para getting the advantage there.
We're almost there.
Left on Askew.
All right,
That's
Para
gonna
goes
be,
to the
man.
grand finals.
Para able to react with the rush attack. Coney, I believe what we saw there was a rush cancel out of the throw. Both fighters go ahead and throw out the rush attack. It was a counter by Para, and initially it was a counter by Askew with that rush attack, but Para was able to connect with the rush attack a little bit later. That was really the deciding factor in that game.
Yeah, it's such a gamble. Like when you throw up those arms and finally you're both letting that rush fly and you say, okay, it all comes down to this, like two rams bucking horns. It can go either way, and as you saw right there, it seemed like Para was just ahead of the game. Askew putting up a great show for us, had some amazing matches, dominating performance against Slasher Waylord, but unfortunately Para just a little bit too adaptable, a little bit too versatile, I would say, between the bubs, between the clapback, the popper, and on so many different stages, too. I just think you saw the versatility there from Para just really coming out big.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the updated bracket because we have our grand final set. It'll be
All right, Astro Ninja
taking
versus
on
Para.
So a rematch of the winners final. It was a winners final, EE, that Astro Ninja had no issues with whatsoever, walking away with a 3-0 victory. The Dr. Coil. It will be interesting if we see more Kid Cobra come out from Para because we saw a lot of Ninjara EE in that matchup against Astro Ninja originally.
You know what? You're trying to take this tournament. You leave that Ninjara on the loading screen. I love Ninjara, but just given what we saw, the dominant fashion Astro Ninja took in, it's just he's the true ninja. Okay, you got to give that one up. I love the Kid Cobra play. I think tailor your arms to what you think is going to be able to get you in on Astro Ninja, who has proven to have a supreme defense, which you can switch into offensive mode at any given time.
Grand final set, Astro Ninja taking on Para. And Coney, once again, Para, as you said, the adaptability. We saw a lot of success with the bubs, and then we saw the counter, of course, coming from Askew. But then Para, once again, going to the clapback and popper. And it was a big-time matchup. But now we see the Springman on Scrapyard taking on Dr. Coil. And we know Dr. Coil, EE, loves the Scrapyard, all sorts of escape to work with.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, this already being the fact that, always maintaining that air presence. And you see just going immediately for that high ground and then go ahead and get some of those pillars to start falling. But this is where Astro Ninja has kind of made his bones, right? He's a very patient individual, and that can kind of frustrate his opponents at times, which creates that one opening that can be so debilitating. And already you see both rushes online. So expect some fireworks early.
Para with double roasters, Astro Ninja. You see that Tri-Blast and Toaster as well. And early on, Coney, no different story than last time. Astro Ninja just keeping all sorts of space and wanting to wait this one out. I don't believe either fighter has really taken a solid hit yet.
No, this is going to be a slow one. I think it's the function of the stage, man. I think we ended up on Scrapyard, and because of that, both these guys going to take their time. Para playing Springman, which I do think is the correct choice. He actually was looking much better in their earlier set. Astro Ninja did win 3-0, but Para looking very well on Springman. But that was on Buster Beach, which is a lot tighter, a lot more narrow. I think Scrapyard is just a little bit too big. This is, we've gone, 40 seconds now? No, 70 seconds. 75 without a single hit. Finally, it's going to take a rush to connect anything on Para.
10 seconds left. Let's see if Astro Ninja can wait out Para. A slight lead, and that'll do it. A couple of connections right there will be just enough of a cushion for Astro Ninja. As we said,
Astro
this
Ninja
match going 55
wins
in the right-hand lane, but it's enough for Astro Ninja to close things out at the end here. So we'll see if Para wants to speed things up and move into the passing lane here, but Astro Ninja has no problem, playing a very patient game.
No, not at all. And, as somebody who plays, and that can be very frustrating. You know what I'm saying? That can be very frustrating. You just want to get in there and you want to get your hits. But, again, the nature of this stage, too, it really lends itself to what Astro Ninja is attempting to do, which is slow down the pace, frustrate you, and then even it comes down to just Rush being enough damage, even by just chip meter or anything like that, to just put on to get the timeout. It doesn't really matter. The dub is the dub, and I think Astro Ninja's realized that.
Astro Ninja takes about 30 damage with some chip as well, too. But here comes the rush attack, and this is huge, Coney, especially in a slow, patient game like this.
Yeah, rushes are way more important in a game, sort of when no hits are landing, because there's so many guaranteed hits in a row. Astro Ninja now has such a comfortable lead. He can just chill and sit back, but hold on. Para able to even it up with one really strong punch. I think that's why these arms are so good for him, because just the raw damage is unparalleled. So any hit he gets is going to be a big one. We'll see if he can make this work. He does have the rush, but chasing down Astro Ninja is going to be difficult. He's going to let it rock, but can't seem to land it.
Oh, and the rush attack coming out from Astro Ninja. Para able to block just in time. So we've got a pretty even match. Para with a slight health advantage as we get to 23 seconds. Both fighters keeping their distance at this point. Astro Ninja has to be a little aggressive now. Close some of the real estate, some of the airspace between them and Para. Para wants to try and play patient. It's a game of cat and mouse, but a connection by Astro Ninja will give Astro Ninja the advantage. But another connection coming from Para. 3 seconds left. One more hit might do it, and Astro Ninja able to do
Astro
it
Ninja
right
gets a
before
point.
time expires, and we'll take the first game in Grand Finals. So a lot of back and forth down the stretch there.
You gotta love with just those waning seconds on the clock, just the mentality, the focus to just understand, okay, if I could just squeeze in one more hit, literally one more hit, I can go up by one, and that's all I need to do, and just put that away. Like that's just the mental fortitude to just keep your wits about you there is really impressive.
And you saw the grab. I mean, it just barely whiffed over Astro Ninja. That so rarely happens, but it was right over her head. She wasn't levitating up into it, and because that could have made all the difference in that round, in that set, and in this entire bracket. We'll see if Para can do it again here on DNA Lab, which again, large stage. I think this is going to favor Astro Ninja.
As we mentioned, DNA Lab, you've got some of those pillars in place once again, but Astro Ninja loves having all sorts of room to work with as well. Para, no switches, going with both of those roasters once again. Astro Ninja got the Tri-Blast as well as that Toaster. Astro Ninja with a rush meter ready to go, applying a little bit more pressure, but it's Para that has the early advantage, and Para doing a good job of using those pillars for protection.
Absolutely. I think this is what Para needs to do. It's just like, okay, well, at this point, I understand what your game plan is. Let me show you what I can do, too, when I get a little space. Oh, but that pillar being only one hit, Rush is going to slam through it. That's going to be some much-needed damage for Astro Ninja.
Para, that was definitely a great usage of that rush meter, as we said before. Para, though, can't get theirs to connect as Astro Ninja snips that one out here, Coney.
I think we said it at the beginning of the broadcast. We talked about how important rush is, and it sounds a little obvious, but landing those rushes is critical to success in this game. And I've seen no player avoid rushes as often and with as much consistency as Astro Ninja. So much of that is just Dr. Boyle being so mobile and able to just get around
Astro
so
Ninja,
easily.
finish him.
Because Para can't land these rushes, it means that any string that would otherwise be guaranteed just doesn't land on Astro Ninja as he goes up another game.
Astro Ninja orbiting around Para. We saw the unbelievable timing there, of using the rush attack as the throw came out from Para. Just well read by Astro Ninja.
Absolutely. And at this point, because it seems like Astro Ninja is kind of dictating the pace and everything, it's easier to make these reads because at that point you can just expect what you're going to see out of Para. And I think because he's just kind of being able to use that kind of counterplay, it's just been just such a major difference. And you got to credit Para. He's fighting his heart out. It's just the answers just aren't there.
Yeah.
Para, that rush attack going to get blocked by Astro Ninja. Astro Ninja, full rush meter ready to go as the Tri-Blast connects. Astro Ninja keeping a little bit of space here, throwing out punches left and right, and that's what you want to do, Coney. Just keep a consistent wave of arms coming out at all times.
Need the constant pressure, trying to force your opponent into the corner, onto their back foot. Just try to, it's all about limiting options. You want to get your opponent in a spot where they can't run away anymore. And you see Para trying to play to that. He's building this rush as much as possible, but he's also trying to stay back so Astro Ninja can't use one of his own. But Para does have a slight disadvantage, which if these earlier rounds have been anything to go by, this slow pace is going to benefit him. But finally, Para landing a full rush, taking away Astro Ninjas. This is his opportunity.
Para answers back with a well-timed rush attack. Astro Ninja forced to go aggressive now. Astro Ninja usually loves sitting back, but a charged roaster going to go ahead and knock down the good doctor. Astro Ninja hanging on in there.
Oh my god, Astro Ninja's going to lose.
Left here. EE, we've got Para finally trying to turn the tables. Para will not go quietly in the night. Looking to close things out.
Not at all, and I love it too because now you're forcing Astro Ninja out of his comfort zone. Now he's going to have to make these plays and be aggressive, and this round is all but lost. So,
Astro Ninja got knocked out.
I've got this one well in tow, and this is a great opportunity to maybe steal this game and knot things up one apiece.
A rare KO, so Para, a win here. Coney will go ahead and notch it up at one game apiece.
Final round.
In winners finals. Don't forget Para will have to reset the bracket though, so a long way to go. But Para showing signs of life here.
Yeah, still much work to be done, but it does bode well for him if he can keep this momentum rolling. The problem is you're pushing a boulder uphill for an uncertain amount of time, man. It's going to take a very, very long and arduous road for him to be able to come back in this entire set. He's got to win not just this set, but the one after. And here on DNA Lab, you can see Astro Ninja just trying to... I think a big thing here is the mental exhaustion. Even if you don't win this set, if Astro Ninja can't win this and Para goes up 1-1, if he could just kind of exhaust him, sort of wear him down, make him frustrated, and just try to make it so he's making constant mistakes, I think he's trying to play the long game.
Rush attack connecting from Para. 3-10, so Astro Ninja in a deficit once again, has a rush attack ready to go. So we've seen so far EE Para making great use of those rush attacks. That's been the difference.
No doubt about it, man. Para, and that's been exactly what he's needed to, again, take Astro Ninja out of his comfort zone. And this is the benefit that you're going to see out of that, because Para obviously showing that he can be somebody who can really put on some good defensive standing as well once he's in the lead, not having to kind of play that uphill battle. Yet again, letting that rush unleash and getting some good hits out of it. He is looking primed and primed to take this entire match at the moment.
Astro Ninja tried to get a little too aggressive while the rush was going out.
Oh my god, Para is getting aggressive right now.
2 KOs against Astro Ninja, and Para looking like they're going to even things up here. Not enough time left, so Para, how about the comeback here, Cody?
Alright.
Very well
Para
done.
gets a
You can
point.
see that Astro Ninja was not really fully engaged there. I mean, he had to switch up his style a lot, start being the aggressor, try to force the issue onto Para. And he didn't look totally comfortable, if I'm being honest. He didn't look totally ready to get in the driver's seat, because every time he tried to come in, Para was just clocking him left, clocking him right. And I feel like that's where Para has to play at his best. You have to play slow, get that early lead, force Astro Ninja to come to you, and then just let him fly.
One game apiece here in our grand finals. Don't forget, Astro Ninja would still need to be knocked out at least once to reset the bracket. So Astro Ninja still sitting comfortable, still looking like they're in control, but really EE, it's Para and their ability to connect with those rush attacks. That's really been what has looked different to me as far as what Para is doing. So no switches, but this stage selection, we do see the nade coming out though here, EE. That'll change things up a little bit for Astro Ninja.
Definitely. I mean, we've already seen a change, right? Para's actually won. You know what I mean? Like in winners finals, you kind of got swept out the building. Now you're in grands. You already did that little bit of a loser's run, so you have a lot of confidence coming into this one. And I think it's showing off and understanding, hey, I can play and maybe even beat Astro Ninja at his own game. So if I can go ahead and continue that kind of pacing, yes, a bracket reset seems very possible to be in my future.
In Coney, we have to give a shout out to how well Para is utilizing Springman's ability to send those arms back with that parry.
Oh my goodness, that grab connecting from so far back. I'm really surprised that hit, but yeah, he's using Springman's parry. Basically, if you charge up and then dash, you'll be able to knock away any arms coming your way. I think that's what the nade is for, is trying to catch him, sort of throw off his timing. He is able to avoid it if he does it correctly, but it does sort of shift your timing around a little bit and sort of catch you unawares if you are not ready. But Para, I think, is better suited for a stage like this just because there's so many corners. He's able to chase Astro Ninja down, but Astro Ninja looking a little bit stronger, at least here early on.
Astro Ninja with a very nice 1-2 connection. That nade with that delayed explosion, it just forces you to be just a little bit more patient. And now it's Astro Ninja playing a much more aggressive playstyle as well, too, in Via Dolce. Para trying to hang on. This throw here might lead into something. Astro Ninja, though, 9 seconds left. That throw did the KO, so Astro Ninja answering back with the switch to the nade takes the first round of this third game.
It's the invisibility there. You saw the immediate wake up into the grab. Para was not able to react in time, and sometimes that can really catch you off guard. You need to be able to react instantly as she comes out of stealth. It can be very difficult, especially in such a high-pressure situation, but Para's not able to do it, and Astro Ninja goes up because of it.
And EE, you have to like Via Dolce because we saw in the last 2 stages a little bit more of a patient game. This forces you to get up close and personal with your opponent.
Oh yeah, if you're a zoner, you absolutely hate this stage because there is really no mid-range. Like at some point, you're just going to have to get up there and just fight close quarters, and that's why I think these rushes are going to be utilized really well. Just looking for one little opening, but it becomes more viable when you're able to fight close quarters at this much more of a consistent level. But nobody willing to kind of pull the trigger just yet. But Astro Ninja, I love the fact that he's shown he can be versatile as well as knock a rush out, maintaining his own, and he can be quite a little aggressive himself as he's putting on a nice demonstration already.
The explosion from the nade to negate the rush attack, and then Astro Ninja connecting with their very own rush attack has really dictated the momentum of this match. Astro Ninja in full control at this point here, Coney.
Yeah, no question. I think sort of all the wind was taken out of Para's sails as that rush didn't connect. He's trying to put up some offense, trying to force Astro Ninja into the corner, but Astro Ninja constantly backing up. Para definitely is putting on a lot of pressure here, and it looks strong, but Astro Ninja just needs a couple more hits. Yeah, he's going to let that rush fly. Even if it's just chip damage, it makes it so that only one more hit is all he needs to be able to take this.
Astro Ninja looking to close things out with one more hit. Para not giving up.
One more
yet.
hit, Astro Ninja, and we got it.
The left-armed nade able to get the KO.
Dang.
So Astro Ninja will
What an
take
awesome
that game
finish.
and is now just one game away from being the champion of our ARMS North American Open August 2020. So Para will really have to push that boulder up that steep hills we mentioned here, Coney. But
Yeah.
you like the adjustment that we saw from Astro Ninja, going with the nade, more of a direct approach, a little bit more power than that Tri-Blast that we saw earlier, and that really seemed to throw off the rhythm of Para.
And we saw it pay dividends almost immediately, right? Like, off that explosion, it canceled out that rush attempt that we saw on the side of Para. So it already goes to show you, like, he knows what he's doing here. And obviously, even being forced into more close quarters, Astro Ninja, he can be comfortable in that situation, too. So when you have that kind of versatility in your play style, you can excel going either way, back or forward. I think you're looking pretty strong to go in and maybe take this tournament.
And Coney, what we saw there, and I'm curious as far as this next game goes, for Astro Ninja, you had a lot of success being very aggressive. That stage forced you to be up close and personal. It seems like you want to go revisit that. It seemed like Astro Ninja was struggling when they were playing more of a defensive play style.
It seemed like it, right? I mean, the fact that they ended up winning is sort of surprising because it did seem like
All right, the
he
last
wasn't quite
round.
as comfortable sort of on his forward foot holding forward. But this is actually going to be on Ramen Bowl. This is the first time we've seen this stage
Ramen
all
Bowl.
day. And I think if you wanted to close out the tournament with Dr. Coyle, this is the stage to do it. I don't think you could have gotten a better stage for Astro Ninja, if I'm being honest.
Dr. Coyle ordering up the right stage on the menu. Ramen Bowl going to give Dr. Coyle a huge advantage, as you mentioned before here, Coney. And then we see no changes in the arms. That nade coming out once again on the left arm, the toaster on the right arm for Astro Ninja. Para going with double roasters as well. And early on, both fighters just feeling each other out, keeping their distance. Nobody able to get a clear connection. Rush meter for both of them. Here comes the rush attack from both. That will just sort of cancel each other's out. Nothing too exciting there, folks.
Yeah, you saw what Para did. He popped the rush just to block. It was to call his arms back to say, no, I'm not going to get clocked by this. The problem with this stage for Para is that Astro Ninja can play at the edge of the bowl constantly, just constantly hold back. And Para not only has to go into the bowl, he has to climb up the bowl just to get any sort of distance. I think this stage is just the nightmare scenario for him. We'll see how he can do, but you can tell that Astro Ninja is just playing perfectly to his win condition, playing safe, careful, very slow pace. We might see a timeout here.
Astro Ninja just methodically throwing out arm after arm, connecting when they need to. They've built up quite the advantage here. EE, if you're Para, you got to find a way to close the gap.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like, every approach you're making, you're seeing Astro Ninja, he just kind of tailors his defense to make it just so much more difficult for you to get anything going. Obviously, we see maybe not the biggest of separations,
All right.
but that's the perfect time to use
She's
your
destroying
rush.
him.
I think Para's thinking, okay, I have an opportunity to maybe make
Right,
a
one
push
more,
here.
then Para is
I've
the
got this rush
champion.
I've been sitting on too, and I'm going to make sure I put you away in this first exchange.
Astro Ninja takes the first round, so Astro
Round
Ninja
two.
just one round away from claiming the championship of our ARMS North American Open August 2020. Astro Ninja and the Ramen Bowl had no issues in that previous round, just sitting up high. It's going to take a monumental effort from Para, but we've seen Para before with their back up against the wall, Coney, and this is what they do. They answer back with the rush attack.
Springman himself is pretty well suited to these comebacks, especially if he gets below a certain health percentage. This is tournament point for Astro Ninja, so you got to imagine the strategy is going to be the exact same as it has been all day. See how Para deals with it. He wants to farm this rush, but he's also afraid of Astro Ninja pulling the trigger on his own. Gets the nade confirmed into a rush, and Astro Ninja may have made this all but a certainty at the end of this tournament. We'll see if Para has the juice to keep up.
And Astro Ninja did that while being in the bowl, so does it in a different location than where they've normally operated this entire round. Astro Ninja and Para, though, don't sleep on it. Maybe one connection from Para can turn the tide of this one. Para has a rush attack ready to go. 35 seconds left. Oh, big connection there, and Para takes the advantage here at EE.
I think this would be tremendous if he can sneak this one out on Ramen Bowl. That tells you everything you need to know. But Astro Ninja, he's got his rush on deck, and we've seen in those clutch situations he can pull the trigger as well and maybe eke this out.
Oh,
Para with just a slight advantage, but can he maintain to do it? 15 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, Para with a nice connection with the roaster. Astro Ninja, this grab, is it going to be enough? Not yet. Astro Ninja still trailing. Has the rush attack.
all right,
Trying
rush
to get
attack,
the
rush
confirm
attack.
to close it out. Is it going to be enough?
Look at the timer!
Oh, what an epic finish.
So Astro Ninja coming from behind in
Dang.
that final round to go ahead and claim the game and claim the championship. Astro Ninja, your
That
winner
was a
of
sick
the ARMS
move.
North American Open August 2020, and doing it with some style at the
Alright,
end.
I'm gonna
there,
fix
Tony.
something
You
first.
love the finish.
Yeah, there at the very end, I gotta
video's
tell
like-
you, the
the screen is
deciding
paused.
moment, you can always sort of, in hindsight, you can
What
look
is
back and say,
wrong?
okay,
My
this was the moment, that moment.
Oops, sorry about that. Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna, like, fix it. I'm gonna stop the camera here and
Love the
then.
finish.
Yeah, there
Alright,
at
got
the
it
very
fixed.
end, I gotta tell you, the deciding moment, you can always sort of, in hindsight, you can look back and say, okay, this was the moment that momentum shifted. You could see when Para let that rush go, and it didn't land. I think he tried to do it to be a little bit sort of anticipating Astro Ninja's movement. I think he expected him to jump, expected him to throw a punch, something like that, and Astro Ninja didn't eat the bait. He didn't take the bait. And because of that, Astro Ninja just patiently waited, threw up the block, threw out that nade at the very end, and Para just did not have the answers. And that means Astro Ninja is going to be your champion.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the final bracket from this one. Woo! What a finish to this tournament. Just absolutely entertaining start to finish. Astro Ninja 3-1 over Para. And give Para credit for really finding some adjustments and changes there at EE to make it much more competitive. Astro Ninja
Oops, sorry about
had
that.
no issues with Para in winners final, but in grand finals we saw Para really step their game up.
I'm telling you, Jordan, if it was any other stage but Ramen Bowl, I really
Yeah.
do feel like that could have gone the distance. Like, that was you're already in an uphill battle, and that just slants it even more. So that was tough, but kudos to Para. Definitely put up a very strong fight, but Astro Ninja in a position was just like, I will not be denied. I will take advantage of my situation. He does just that, and it results in a championship, so congrats to him.
Well, big thank you to Para once again, and of course our champion Astro Ninja. They'll get a digital download code for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, along with the Fighters Pass Volume 2, and a digital download code for Splatoon 2. And so that'll do it for the ARMS North American Open August 2020. Big shout out to EE and Coney. Guys, great job today. Just so much fun. All these matches were great. I'm going to go ahead and fire up ARMS as soon as we get done here. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. And don't forget to continue to stay tuned to Nintendo for more Nintendo competitive action. From all of us here, thank you once again. And a big shout out to our hardworking crew. You guys take care of yourselves. We'll see you all next time.
All right, that was the best match I've ever seen, and it was so fun. All right, this is Gaming God, and don't forget to like, comment,